Welcome to the Market My STR show, the show made exclusively for short-term rental owners and co-hosts that actually works, so you can stop wasting time and money on short-term rental and co-hosting marketing strategies that don't work. Listen in for tips, tricks, and our book solid, move the needle, and core 4 marketing strategies. Here's your host, Scott Hill.
Hey, welcome to the Market My STR show, another episode of the Market My STR show with a slant on co-hosting. This one is really co-hosting specific because, frankly, what we're going to teach today, which is how to build a content funnel using different stages, applies to more towards like what a local business owner experiences. And because co-hosts are local business owners, they really are. This is really good, valuable information. So Jeremy, hey man, what's happening?
Hey, not too much. I'm excited. I get a master class from Professor Hill.
Oh boy.
Today.
Okay, here we go. Well, let's have an appropriate level of expectation here.
Yeah.
But I do feel like I've got something to say today, which is I'm excited about. Let's first go over what I plan on sharing with you. This is sort of like what you mentioned. I mean, I'm not going to say I'm a professor, but you're going to be the student today. You're going to play that role. I'm going to play the teacher role. You're going to have full license to interrupt me anytime you think you need more clarity. I didn't explain something, given that it's probably, if you have the question, someone else listening might have it. So we're going to take that route. You know what? I don't know if you've ever had this happen. And I feel like this is something that, happens occasionally. You feel like you know something well enough where you don't get off track if someone does interrupt you. You know what I mean? You can kind of stay with it. I feel like I've got that underneath me today. So
I'll do my best to remind you if you do lose track.
Yeah. And people, I'm asking listeners to be patient in case I get off track. We can do editing or what have you, but I think we'll figure it out.
So, and just to add, right. So you've been working on this marketing approach of how to create different videos, different types of funnels, the different levels. And I know you'll go through all this. And one of the things I had mentioned today on our accountability call earlier today was I'm struggling with coming up with what I should be scripting, right? What videos should I be doing? So you're going to walk me through this framework that you've put together. You've been working with the Market My SDR team to be able to help you put these videos together and get them out there. You've started posting them. I think they look great. And I know they're soon going to hit our Facebook ads and start going out to the 2,500 or so people that we've got ready to start, getting nailed with our faces.
So what I hope to cover today that by the end of this is, one, how we're creating content that eventually turns into, most importantly, a paid and profitable funnel. That's what you and I want out of this.
100%.
The how of it is we've created a proprietary 5-stage funnel where we use to teach our local business owners with Market My Co. So that's just something we're applying today because co-hosting and there's a local business, right? We have a market. We are generally want to be in 30A right now, and we want people to know who we are. So that's that part. Why? So we can get new clients. I mean, it's pretty simple, right? We want to turn strangers into loyal clients.
No like and trust by the time.
No like and trust. I'm going to go through what I've done personally. Like you and I are trying to wear some hats. We're kind of jointly wearing a few hats, but mainly your operations, mainly I'm trying to be the front end marketing. So I'm going to share with you what I've created as the Alt-Ver stages, each of the 5 stages, what's in them. I'm going to share with you what I see to be the Alt-Ver steps from where we are now to paid profitable funnel. And then I'm going to explain my internal content creation process, which starts as a storyboard, and then it moves to assigning it to an editor who has CapCut knowledge, who's going to turn it into a published version A, which is, as you know, we've now done 4 days in a row for Alt-Ver.
Yeah. No, great. So then this can be applied to really anybody who's building a business. I guess the last part of you're handing it to your Market My SDR team to do editing, they might just have to go out, either do it themselves or find somebody on Fiverr or something to do editing for them, right? Like everything else they can do up to that point themselves.
Oh yeah. You mean like if a local business owner is hearing this, how do they implement it? Yeah, that might be something.
Or just another co-host that's out there. It's like, okay, I'm struggling to get social media and Facebook ads out there. I don't really know where to start or really how to, schedule this out and how to think this through. They can all take this process and use it themselves.
Well, then let's commit. This will be session 1. Maybe this is a series. This is part 1 of a series, maybe where we do go through ultimately and get it into a point where a co-host can be implementing it. Like my unique challenge, as you know, that I would hope you don't have too much frustration with me yet, is the unique challenge I have is I have multiple business projects that if I don't create a process where this can apply to all of them at once, dude, my life's going to blow up. So
Yeah.
the beauty of what I've created over time here that we're implementing now, and for the first time in my business life, I've been able to implement is what I believe to be a process that applies to all my projects. And we just funnel it through the same thing.
Smart.
So, all right, so let's do this. I'm going to do exactly what I said I was going to do. First, I want to explain what our 5 funnel stage
And Scott,
proprietary process.
if anybody wants to watch this, because you're going to share your screen, YouTube, where are we posting? I know you've been doing it. YouTube
Yeah, there
and
are
Facebook.
2 ways to see it live or video is on Facebook, on our Facebook page at Market My STR. That's a public page. If you're in our private group, it'll be posted there. And then on our YouTube channel, but our YouTube channel is Market My Co. Yeah. Okay. So the first thing I wanted to go through are the 5 stages. And I'll share my screen here so that I can give a visual. I'll give a visual of these 5 screens to start. And we can walk through those. You can ask me any questions you want. I'm gonna increase the size, so
Yeah, I
hopefully
may have to
you
put
can
on the
see it.
spectacles for this.
I'm gonna get this as big as possible and center this on the screen. So can you see that better now?
Yeah, does it get bigger on your screen? Because I
It
can
gets
see
a
other
lot
stuff
bigger.
behind that.
It gets a
Like I
lot
can see
bigger
your
on the.
screen behind it.
Yeah, I know. Like that's the thing I don't really understand how to do. So maybe I'll just keep
Yeah, there you go.
building this.
There you go.
Is it getting better now and
Yeah, yeah.
less?
Yep,
Okay.
that's good.
All right. So if I can do it one more bigger, then let's see if that. Okay. How's that?
Yeah, good.
All right. So everybody or many people may know of several very popular frameworks, and I'm going to tell you why ours is different here in a second, but you even said it, know, like, and trust. You know that framework. I've heard it called awareness, consideration, and conversion. That's another 3-step framework. I've heard someone also call it connect, cultivate, convert, close. So that's a 4-step framework.
I've definitely heard that one. Yep.
Still, you can see the similarities in all those. But what we found is there was a step, and what we didn't like necessarily is we wanted to dial down the objective in each to be a single objective. So we really understood what that meant to us. And what we found is working is doing it this way. So that's just the way we do it. So we call the no stage, just like, that other, whoever invented it, I don't know who created it, but the no stage is similar to what you would be doing if you're using a connect, that we talked about that framework, or the awareness, or in other words, you're trying to get attention.
Right.
What
Try
no
to
means.
get people to know who we are. No is get to know us.
Yeah, what no people is, if generally marketers like to use how do you go through the process of getting someone to marry you? Well, first you gotta, that person has to know you exist.
Yeah. They
You
may
know what I
not
mean?
know what they think about us yet, right?
Yeah.
But they know us.
Yeah, and in our know, personally, what we teach is that it is the top of your funnel, and the only objective you should have in this stage is to fill the top of your funnel. Identify people who take enough time to watch a certain percentage of your video. That is all you're trying to accomplish, is you're trying to put out content that introduces yourself in a digestible way to your target audience.
And you're trying to engage enough that they're watching whatever that video is for more than 50% of the video. Is that?
Yep.
That's difficult. Okay.
And the best way to do that is to tell stories. Found telling a story is the perfect way to get people to listen. And it doesn't mean you don't use some of the tried and true elements of creating a good viral type video, which is like the first one might be the hook. So I'm gonna build this out for you on the fly to show people what that looks like, right? Because there can be up to 7 elements in a no video. The first one is the hook. So you'd be starting out by saying, are you a short-term rental owner on 30A, right? So you want someone to stop because, oh yeah, that's me, right? So that's the hook. And then the intro would be something like, 5 years ago, I jumped into short-term rental ownership, and started to understand how hard it was to maximize the performance of a rental property. And that's the conflict. So you've done the intro. 5 years ago, I got into short-term rental ownership. And what was the conflict? What was the problem that I had in doing that? Right. So now someone's listening and they're saying, okay, you've identified my problem, my conflict too, which is, yeah, it's not that easy. I, I, I I was blessed to be able to achieve a dream to buy a second home or a short-term rental property. And then I was told, okay, I can put it on Airbnb, and it wasn't that easy.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the conflict. And then you had an epiphany. So that's the piece where you're like, it hit me, right? I can't just buy a property and think people are going to want to stay there. I actually have to work at it. And I need to start learning how to optimize the performance of this property.
Nice. Yeah.
And that's when I decided that I couldn't do it myself, right? I had to do it this way. And the payoff or the solution was I started to dig into personally what it was going to take to succeed, which are the 4 pillars of elite property performance.
Right.
All
Yeah.
right,
I mean,
so-
everything you went through is going to connect with vast majority of owners that purchased in the last 5 years.
Yeah. Yeah. And so what some people do, like now everyone's listening. Now the person who is like feeling your pain is listening the whole time. And this is, so now you're at least 50% into this video. And now you've achieved someone who said this, now I'm not a stranger to this person. And now I've offered my solution, the 4 pillars of elite property management or property performance. And now what's the purpose? Well, the purpose for me was to learn it. I wanted to learn it, which led someone to hearing that I learned it, and they were a next door neighbor, and they asked if I could do the same for them.
Sure.
Because that person didn't want to do it on their own, because they realized that if they were going to have to learn the 4 pillars, that would have taken way too much time, and that's not what they wanted to do. That's not what they were passionate about.
Right.
So I said yes. And then I said yes again. For others, though, like the friend that I did it for, right, that was their solution. For my purpose, it was to learn it myself. I was passionate about how I got to elite performance, so I wanted to do that for myself. And then if it was fun to do it for somebody else.
Nice. Okay.
And so that's it. So that is the
That's
formula.
stage 1, step 1.
That is the formula. That is your no video. That is what fills your funnel up with people who have watched at least 50%. And then you can have a CTA if you want, but normally you shouldn't have a CTA on a no video because you're just trying to fill your funnel. So it's like
you're not asking for anything.
You're not asking for anything. You're just introducing yourself. So that's the no video. Then the like are like it's a bunch of stuff. It's value-driven content, but the single objective is for people to engage. It's not to convert them in any way. It's just to get them to engage. That could be in a comment. It could be subscribe, like, share, follow. But the reason why it's a funnel and the reason why there are stages is because you don't want to lose sight of the objective in each one of them. People just start confusing objectives. They start trying to get way ahead of themselves. I meet you. I want to marry you. And on the first date, I ask you to marry me. And you're like, get away from me. Like, and that's the analogy marketers like to use, but you can't.
Sure.
So the like videos can be a variety of things. For example, you know, what are we doing? Vera's doing a bunch of which one would you rather pick kind of thing. You and I have created
Property manager, co-host. Right.
Yeah, like you're a short-term rental owner on 30A, and your manager doesn't have access to the best slip-covered furniture on the planet, but property owner B has a manager who has not only the best access to it, but they own the company and they can get it for me at cost.
Right.
Which owner would you rather be?
Yeah. Easy answer.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's just a form of like content. You can do it in a lot of different ways. You've done some really good like content, which is just, hey, here's what I noticed when trying to optimize my listing. And, you know, these are some of the tricks and tips you can use. I mean, all that, right? Educational, valuable content. But don't ask for anything other than possibly a comment, to subscribe, like, share, which is low stress, low risk kind of commitment.
Yeah.
Right.
This is great because people like me, when and again, I just started doing Facebook ads and this stuff this year in the last less than 12 months. So anything that I was doing, any video that went out, any ad that went out was like, you know, click to chat, or like, you know, I'm always trying to get something instead of building up, and getting those people at the end of this funnel that I know are going to convert.
Yeah, and internally we call it the customer commitment framework. We shorten it to TCCF, but for us it's you get commitment at every stage of the funnel, but the commitment has to be appropriate. At the no stage, the commitment is watch at least 50% of the video. That is the only commitment I want from you.
If I'm saying something you're going to say later, you can tell me, but is there like, if whoever watches 50% or more of videos, those then move into like
Yeah.
audience?
Yeah,
So
you
you're just moving those people that check those boxes into the next audience automatically.
That's right.
And they're the
Each
ones that are
one,
getting that next stage. You're not hitting everybody. You're hitting the ones that are relating to you.
you're never hitting everybody unless you really trust Facebook and Instagram to get you the right audience, but you can't do that in what we're doing. In a
Sure.
local market, you just can't create a no campaign for
Right.
video views as the objective and say nationwide go. You
Right. What
have
I meant
to.
was we're doing it to our specific owner's audience, but then we're cutting down that owner's audience at each one of these stages versus going to that full owner's audience at every single stage.
Yes, but the broadest audience you'll start with is at the no level, because
Right.
everything else will be a custom audience that you'll create inside of the audience section of Meta.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. In our case, our no audience is what we've defined, which is all 38 owners we think we have targeted, right?
Mhm.
We may broaden that a little to try to catch some people we didn't, but the reality is that's our
What's
target.
the process to continue them down the funnel? So you have, say, you have an audience of 1,000 people, and let's say 300 are going to move from no to like. Is it an
Yeah,
automated
so
thing in Facebook?
you create a custom audience inside of Facebook that says people can get my like videos if they've watched at least 50% of my
Gotcha.
no videos.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So like I've described like videos. Okay. So then exchange can be fairly similar to like in some cases. They are for people who have watched one or more, ideally more than one like video. So you're funneling them in and then you're bouncing them from like video to like video and you're bouncing them back and forth. That's the way you can build these campaigns.
So how long are you doing a like campaign for?
It's forever.
Continuous, I guess. Okay.
Yeah, because you're always hopefully adding new people into the funnel through the no campaign.
Right. So if any point somebody is in like, and now they've watched whatever video you just put out of like 50% or more, they're automatically now moving into the next one. It's
Yeah,
not like,
because a custom audience you can do for several different like milestones. It could be followers, it could be people who commented, it could be people who watch a certain amount of your video. As you know, we're going to start experimenting because one of our accountability partners, Dan, is experimenting with image posts. We're going to do that too. It doesn't just have to be videos, but you can add people into custom audiences by a couple of different criteria.
so this morning I posted a image Facebook ad where I kind of followed Dan's lead on one that he did. It didn't ask for anything in that one, just put it out there. We'll see, if people stick around for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Cool.
what we're doing right now is we're throwing bleep at the wall, right? What we want to do is we want to start creating a funnel where we are guiding people through from top to bottom, which is what this is intended to do. And so, right, once you get to the point where you get the exchange, the key difference with exchange is you're asking for one of their assets. You're asking for one of our potential ideal clients' assets, which is their information and or their time.
Mm-hmm.
So in the exchange, it might be something like, listen, we want to introduce you to the 4 pillars of elite property performance. They are your property, your guest experience, your revenue management, or your off-platform marketing. If you cannot answer how happy you are with the performance of your property as a 9 or a 10, then we would encourage you to reach out to us so that you can get to a 9 or a 10. And here's how you do it. Just click on this link and schedule an intro call with us. Click on this link and request a property analysis. You know what I mean? So the exchange comes at a price. We are now not willing to do anything more for you. In other words, we're not going to give you a lot of our secret sauce here on out. This is like the firewall.
Yeah. Time for that.
And now you have to trade something with us for us to give you what we know, because what we know is better than what anybody else knows collectively. So give us your time or give us your information. If you give us your information, then fine, we can nurture you. That's what we wanted out of that. We can do a nurturing campaign and we can keep reinforcing to them, here's why, here's why, here's why, and
Well,
just be helpful.
so a question on that, right? Because we technically already have their information, right? So if let's say are we really asking for their information in exchange, or are we more really asking for time?
We don't have their information yet. Not in a warm way where they've raised their
right.
hand. Exchange is raising your hand. You know what I mean?
So okay, so they've now given us their information, which, like I said, we have because we've been hitting them with Facebook ads. So what are we doing differently now with that info, or is it the same thing, but now they've given it to us, so it's just
so let's back up to your original statement that you made that was good. Was how does this applies to every single business, local business type? You know, this is what this. So for local business type, they're starting with a funnel that might just be a 10-mile radius around their business.
Sure.
If it is, the no is a lot bigger, but it is going to take Facebook and Instagram to dial in, showing it to people who will watch at least 50%. So that's related to what we're talking about, because at some point then that nurturing gets down to the point where we don't know who they are still, and we need to get the info in order to know.
Got it. So that's really where it's going to help out a ton, is if you were doing something in 30A, which was just for realtors or something specific in that area, you would do it that way. You don't have any of the information because Facebook is putting together the audience. Now you're getting it.
And what we both know, if we did this, you're having good success. I mean, you're not necessarily getting through to a lot of people, but when you do, you're still having, I mean, your hit rate's good. But the point we both know, which Bill Faith has driven home to us, is by the time we call, ideally, most of the people we call would have been through at least like, and maybe even exchange videos where when we do call, they're like, I know that guy.
I can't wait for that day.
Right.
That just makes making cold calls so much easier once that wall comes down.
And we can either wait. Well, I don't think we want to wait, so we're going to call. But the point is, our calls are going to be, as we both know, way more effective if we wait until the exchange where people are like, I've seen these, I know these guys.
Yeah.
So that's it. And then buy is for anybody who's connected with us and given us their information, and they're like in this nurturing phase, they haven't closed yet, then the buy is going to be this is the offer you essentially can't refuse. Right. You can't refuse. This is an offer, we know we've got an offer people can't refuse. No one has this offer. Like, no one can sell them the best slip-covered furniture at cost. No one's going to do that. No one's going to do all the other 17 things collectively that we want.
Yeah.
That our client-first model is going to give our client.
Right. So combining that with no one trusting us is where it becomes a home run. The challenge we have right now is nobody knows us, so it doesn't matter. I mean, it does matter what our offer is if somebody is that frustrated and ready to make a move, but once they know and like us / maybe trust us, and we have that offer, then it's game on.
Yeah, game on. So the thing that we saw missing, and the reason why we've developed a 5th stage, and the reason why we articulated the exchange stage, as you can tell, it was just personally more helpful for us and our clients that there was a clear commitment for each one of these stages. No is all I want you to do is watch. Like is I want you to engage me in some way. Exchange is I want you to share something of value from you to me because I'm willing to share some of my secret sauce value with you. Buy is exchange of money. Like now you're a client of mine. And then the 5th stage that we've developed because of what we do with local business owners and this repeat customer reality that many of our customers have, pizza places, all these people that are high volume. Well, you want to start discussing at that point as a business owner, the LTV. What is the lifetime value of my customer and how should I continue to fight for this customer so they stick around? We do that all the time with Market My STR. How do we create a customer that pays their subscription fee every month? That's lifetime value to us. So that's what we decided was, okay, we chewed on that, we wrestled with it, we researched it, and we found that, there's definitely a 5th stage where you can create content that's called loyalty content. So it's all revolves around LTV. How do you love on a customer so they stick around? How do you get them, success and get performance? But still nurturing them in emails. It's getting testimonials, both video and written. It's getting reviews. It's getting referrals. It's ascending your value ladder, for some
Right.
business owners.
So
And
this
it's a
so
custom
so
audience.
this last stage is they're a client. But
They're a
getting back
client.
to, let's say where there's an exchange, they've given information, but they haven't bought, right? They haven't signed up. So now we want to nurture them because you've got nurturing under the loyalty, but that's for a specific client or for clients. Uh, Somebody that hasn't bought, but they've exchanged, I guess, just stays between like and exchange until they
Uh,
do buy.
Now, if they're in here, they're going to start seeing some buy stuff, even if they haven't
So
given
they'll
us
be in
anything yet.
I guess, just the buy until they buy, or and then if they don't, like there's no
Let's
like.
go through that again. Sure. Let me see if I can answer.
So let's say someone's given us information. Okay, now we've moved them into the buy, and they've been in the buy for a year,
Yeah.
right? They're only seeing buy stuff. Do they just stay in buy, or is there a way to like, okay, this person hasn't bought yet. Maybe we need to stop asking. We need to go
Yeah,
back
yeah,
to
we refine that. We encourage
yeah,
them to go back and if you get into exchange or buy or anything, if you'll see with loyalty doesn't necessarily have to mean they're a customer, but what is true about the buy, loyalty, and even exchange stages is you continue to occasionally show them the different types of content you have to keep top of mind.
sure, right. And
Yeah.
that's kind of what I was getting at. Like, do they, even if they're not a client, it kind of feels like they should kind of fall into that
Yeah.
loyalty nurturing phase where they're getting buys, but they're also seeing, testimonials and reviews and things like that about the
Yeah,
business.
and as you can see here, the custom groups that are getting loyalty content are like exchange and buy groups, right?
Hmm.
So all of these people are getting this content
Right.
because they've entered our funnel through the no
Yeah.
top stage of the
Okay.
funnels.
That makes
Yes.
sense. That
So
makes sense.
yeah, video testimonials, they go to everybody because that can only reinforce that they need to move to the buy
Right.
section anyway.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yep. No,
All right.
that makes sense.
Okay, so that took a long time to get those stages out. So I don't wanna go too I don't wanna make this too long, but I wanna share the information.
And I think it's going well.
Yeah.
I would say let's keep trucking. If we have to turn it into another one, we can, but
Okay.
let's
Okay, so
let's
let's
keep going.
let's do that. So now let's talk about specifically a co-hosting company. How are we putting that into practice for us? Okay, so here, these are all my business units. So I'm going to focus on just the alt-var column because that's what matters to us. So Jeremy, here's what I've done. I've created what I believe to be are the five, the stages and what we're going to put in it. So in our case, right, our no stage is going to be our origin stories. We just created one for you. I think you could record that video
Yeah.
as an introduction to people, and I think you should. I've done my origin
Right.
story.
I saw yours and was immediately like, okay, I need to do mine. And that's what that part of the reason why we're doing this on this call right now is because I went down the path of like, okay, Scott's really put a lot of time into this and I need to start following that path.
Yeah,
So
so
yeah.
I can even sort of even make this more specific. So obviously I've done mine, right? I've got one more here that I'm going to do, which I told you about, which is Scott podcast answer, which is it's an origin story type answer. And then 4 will be Jeremy origin story. And whatever form that takes, right? I did a part 1 and part 2. And when I talked to you about when we earlier in our conversation today, I talked to you about the different elements of creating a good story. You can break that up in 2 parts if it starts to get too long. So let me give you an example. Hey, are you a luxury short-term rental owner in 30A? If so, you might want to stick around for this video. 5 years ago, I bought my first short-term rental, and I realized that it was a lot harder than I thought. And
Mhm.
so I committed to try to figuring it out. And what I found out shocked me, but it also made the difference between my investment going belly up and my investment getting the results it currently gets. If you'd like to see the rest of my story, go ahead and comment or just give me a thumbs up or give me a DM and I'll share part 2 of the story with you.
Cool.
So you can do it that way. And then you can release part 2 later. And then when part 2 comes out, you're like, hey, if you didn't see part 1 of the story, go ahead and DM me and I'll share part 1 of the story with you.
That's what I was going to ask. Yeah. So, in terms of structure of these kind of storylines, have you built that out for yourself? So it's just kind of like fill in the blanks for each one, or is that kind of all you have? Because I know I put into Notion your hero's journey structure as an SOB or as a script. Is that, I mean, that's kind of, I guess, what
very close.
Okay.
I've refined it a little just to make it easier on myself, but it's like, what's the hook? The hook is who's the audience, or how are you going to give the attention of your target audience? You know what I mean? The lead in, once upon a time, something to that, sort of thing, and then just all the rest. But I can share those with you.
Yeah, I was going to say, so 2 things to that. One, they're in the Google Drive, I'm sure, at this point, but since we're switching to Notion, share them with me, one, so I can review them and figure out how I'm proceeding, and then get them into Notion. So they're in our library in Notion. Secondly, if people are like, okay, this is kind of great, this is what I need, what do you think is the best way to start sharing some of this stuff?
They'll be able to see it right here, but that's a good question. We'll
put that together. We'll circle back to everyone that if like, at some point someone's saying, they really want to use this for their content.
Yeah.
We can figure out how to get them what the structure is for each one of these different types of scripts. And we'll put all that together.
Yeah. So the origin stories are going to be our no category. That's going to get people to know who we are. Then the like videos are going to be what I've laid out here. So 17 client first standards, just explain to people why we're different. A kind of fun, which 30 owner would you rather be series, a more broader where we can just go and do, like in our target cities, we can do a broader paid ad campaign where we're just essentially introducing ourselves to our potential guests, where we're like, hey, listen, if you had to choose between 2 luxury properties and this one had this and this one had this, which luxury property would you want to rent at? Those are the types of things I want to do too. So then the 4 pillars of elite vacation rental management.
So staying on the guests, I know that's different than what we're doing now, but so are we doing that in Facebook ads to the drive-in markets, to the direct flight markets, or is it also to guests that have stayed with us?
No, those markets, but those markets that we also know have owners in those markets, and to the lookalike audiences of our owners. So we might find a couple potential owners that now we're nurturing them. So when they do buy, they know who to call.
Yeah, I was thinking along the lines of the guests, because that would be pretty cool to be able to do a Facebook ad to a market and they're get to know us. Maybe we're doing something about where we send a welcome video and then somebody books and they actually get a welcome video from us. Right?
Well, so this trick, this which 30A traveler would you rather be, is a trick that actually you appeal to owners. Right. And it's a trick that this Ava, I forget her last name, I wish I knew, she's brilliant, viral video specialist use this, and they call it a broad hook to niche hook conversion video. So you broad hook to everybody, and then the owners who are watching are like, yeah, I hope my guests don't see this video. And so you say it like, hey, if you're traveling to 30A and you're thinking of renting a 30A luxury property, stick around for this video. And then you say, luxury property 1 has all new guest linens on the master suite every stay. You get brand new linens. On property B, there's still stains on them half the time because they just keep using the same linens.
Sure.
Which luxury property would you rather stay at? And then you leave it there. And then your call to action is, if you are a luxury property owner and you don't want your guests to experience this, reach out to Altvere, because that's what we do.
Yeah. And then just to stick on that topic, because anybody listening might be like, nobody does that, right? Like there's no such thing as brand new clean sheets on a master bed. We're striving to get to a place where we have listings that could carry that, and our operations are tied in so deeply that we're able to make that work.
That's a dream of mine. That's why I said it. You know what I mean?
And that's why I'm clarifying it, so people know. We know that's not a common thing, but it's something that we think would be a pretty awesome thing to help drive bookings. If you're letting that potential booking guest know when they're comparing your house to another one, be like, these are your sheets. Like,
but the fact, right? And the reason why I do it is, it's personal to me. My wife is a Seinfeld germaphobe. Right? So like, if she knew that was the case, And we all have some of that. Like, Jeremy, I love you, but I don't want to be standing in your filth. You know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah, I would say most people would probably be like, "Oh, that's okay. Yeah, I'm gonna stay here if you're telling me I'm getting sheets that no one's ever slept on."
so anyway, so
Has
the
nothing to do with
point,
how disgusting the mattress is, but
the
that's
point
separate.
is our like content is going to be stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
We are going to be asking at the end, our general call to action is like, for more videos like this, subscribe, comment, like, or follow. That's what we're going to be asking for in return. And then our exchange content would be problem solution stuff. Like, we could do like a pick one of these, but it might be more really relevant to the 4 pillars. Like, do you have a property, or owner A has a manager who does not take care of his or her property, right? It generally, when they show up, they see things that need to be fixed. The manager hasn't done it. Property owner B shows up and their property is always cared for. They
Mhm.
feel like their manager thinks it's their own property. Which property manager would you rather have?
Right.
Right? And then at that point, it's, if you are at the point where you've had it, reach out to us by DMing us, or here's a link to schedule an intro call. And that's our exchange content.
Cool.
Buy content is going to be, listen, we are willing to work. We've, you know who we are. You've seen a lot of our content. Just so you know, we're going to make you an exclusive offer here. You got to DM us, but we've got an exclusive offer we want to share with you. And it's guaranteed, or whatever it is. We're going to do it. We could even say it out loud on the buy content, whatever it is. It's going to be an offer they can't refuse.
We got to just qualify it too.
Yeah, we'll
Right.
qualify. Well, we can make the offer, but if they're not a fit, we're not going to give them the offer. We can say
Yeah.
the offer is there, but then loyalty content's going to be something that does go back to much of our audiences. They'll see it in the form of, testimonials. People are giving us case studies. That's good loyalty content. All that stuff applies.
Yeah, I mean, I can't wait until we have the properties. Get that first property and just being able to do case studies on the things that are happening.
Yeah, and for you and me, we've come to this, realization. We're willing to stand by this core message. The experience you and your guests have are 100% the result of your property manager, period.
Mhm.
For us, we know what that means. We know that we've got to have the guts to have clients and stand up to our clients and say, this is what you need to do to elevate,
Yeah.
to be a super property. And if you're not, we're not going to lie for you. In other words, our listings are going to be exactly the way the guest will experience it in real life.
Right.
And we're going to do what we can do, because we know at the point you give us access and we are co-hosting your property, it's our responsibility.
Right.
And our responsibility to tell you, you got to invest in the property. It's our responsibility to tell you blah, blah, blah. Otherwise, we don't feel like we're doing our job.
Right. We're letting you be average.
Yeah.
Or below average.
All right, so here are the steps. Here's what I have laid out for us. One, we're doing this, and I can put these to green. I have already published some organic no content. For us to be complete, you need to get yours out, and
Yep.
I need to get my podcast answer out. We'll have 5 pieces of content that people will be watching organically, not very many. And then what we'll do is we'll roll those into a paid campaign where we can actually start knowing how many people have watched these videos.
Yeah.
50% or more. And
Cool.
then we make sure our lead magnets are all in place. Our intro call funnel and all that is in place. So we activate that, we test it, we make sure it's accurate. And then we start, which is what we've done since Monday, is now you did, and we continue to do. We've got some pretty good organic content out there that we can roll into a paid campaign.
Okay.
And then we do the exchange, and then now we just step by step, and we don't get ahead of ourselves. Let's get these going, right? Where we know we've produced some. This is the only one that might be out of turn. We might move this
I was
down.
gonna say that probably needs to either honestly shift or go away for now, right?
Yeah, it's probably, this probably gets moved down. I think I got confused by one of my other divisions. I just copied and pasted
Sure.
and tried to.
Yep, sure.
But the point being that, this is probably
We're
out of
not
turn.
we're not doing organic buy content. We're doing the paid buy contact to get to our specific.
And for me, organic buy content should be above the paid version, because you can get some engagement virality going with organic content if you do it right. whereby then all you're doing is pouring gas on the fire when you put ads to it, because you can select the post that's out there organically and pay it and what they call boost it, and you get some real benefit out of that.
Yeah.
That's why organic should always come before paid, because you should try to get as much benefit from it as you can, turning it into paid content.
I would think it also, which totally makes sense, but I would also think the longer you're doing paid content and good content, and you're getting people in your audience to like and maybe share your stuff to people that are not in the audience, and they start following you, now you're building up the potential, higher potential to have organic buy contact.
Yep.
Content.
Yep.
Right.
Yep. All right. So last piece, what is our content creation process look like? This is geared mostly to our like content, which can also be exchange content. We talked, I think, enough about what the structure of no content looks like. So this is what you were asking me about and what led us to want to cover this today, which is, this is what I've done with all my divisions. I have 4 divisions now that all turned out 5 pieces of content this week, each one. So we have 20
Nice.
live posts as a result of this process, and it didn't break, which I'm proud of. So that means I think it's got potential. And all it is, Jeremy, is this is on me. I've created this sheet.
Does the old Ver tab have some more stuff?
Yeah. I'll go out there. So this is on me to create the storyboards, and then I alert somebody by just going into the assigned to column and saying this needs to be assigned. And then Sess, who is my video coordinator, will then assign it to one of our editors. So you can see all our editors. She just needs to assign it to somebody.
Sure.
So once she does, then that person goes into, and let's just use this one, the first one. It doesn't matter how good, bad, or whatever it is. It's an example. So let me just take this down a little bit in size. Okay. So what happened is I simply came in here and I created a topic. And then what I said was, all right, here's what I want this to say. The visual on the screen will be the word tip number 1, and that'll have a logo, because that's part of our.
So this one's an image.
This one is this is a video. This is a video.
Okay.
This is a 30-second video. On the screen for the first scene, as the video starts playing, it tries to hook you, and it says, do you own a 30A luxury vacation rental? And then the music plays, and on the beat of the music, it changes to, if yes, consider this. Owner A uses a boutique co-host, right? I'm not saying alt ver. The logo's right on top. It just says owner A uses a boutique co-host. And there's actually supposed to be 3 dots because there's a continuation of this thought. These are little things, but these are things that I think are important. So owner A uses a boutique co-host, so he feels valued and an important part of their business. Owner B has a high volume traditional property manager, ... All right. And then, and I spelled it wrong. So my editor's supposed to pick that up and change that to who doesn't work hard enough to take care of her property. Which 30A luxury manager would you choose? I'm not telling them what to do. I'm asking them to make a choice.
Yeah. So I think the reason why I was saying this is an image, because you're not actually on screen saying this. This is just image or text on an image that's changing scene to scene.
Yeah.
Right.
But there can be video on it. So there are versions. I'll show you how we go through versions. But this is just music playing, still text, and we were going to use text effects, but it was just so hard to read. So we just dialed it down to black and white.
Keep it simple.
It stays static, changes to the next group of words that complete the thought or whatever it is, right? So that's that. That is what we call version number 1. It gets assigned to an editor. They go into CapCut and they create this. Sess looks at it and then shares it with me, and then I give my comments. Goes back to the editor. They make the changes and we post it.
Cool.
The reason why this content is the way it is I've just found with my team, this has got to be where we start. I tried to do version 6 videos with them from the get-go, which is me on video talking about all this stuff, having them insert B-roll and having them insert text hooks and image hooks. It was a disaster.
Okay.
Disaster. So I had to dumb it down to where I could get content out that had something to say. And the only objection was, let's make people think about something. That's all. If this is a win, it's because it made people say, yeah, maybe I do need my manager to care about me, you know?
Right.
Maybe
So
maybe my manager shouldn't be one that's just trying to get hundreds and hundreds of properties.
yeah, no, and that all makes sense. I guess when now my brain's going to, okay, so if it is a scripted thing that you're filming yourself doing on each one of those stages, like if you go back to Old Bear.
Okay.
So see each scene
Yep.
is the exact text of whatever you're saying in that scene, right?
Yep.
So they're very clear that this is start to finish is the scene.
Yep. This is the scene 1, as you'll see at the top. This is scene 2.
Yeah.
And I
Do
asked
you have
them,
one that's a script that you were talking or not yet?
what I believe to be true is that the scripts will change slightly when I say them myself. I don't think they'll
Okay.
be the same, but that won't matter because I'll be doing it. They will just put the captions in. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah.
When it gets, so let's go and let's talk about what that means. I have created what I believe to be, let's see how many versions there are. That one video I just showed you, there are going to be 21 versions of that video that I could put out on content. And can you imagine how much content? What would happen if every one of those pieces of content just got 100 views? I mean, that's a lot of views. That's the concept of volume. So these are the no videos, right? And I've talked to you about those. So let's start with the one I just showed you, which is our version A. This is the storyboard I just showed you, a hook, which was a scene 1, black background with white letters, approved logo, text scenes, approved music in a 9:16 aspect ratio. In other words, for a reel, a YouTube short, or a TikTok, right?
Okay.
So what's version B? What's the difference? Version B is like version A, but with a CTA possibly. Like instead of being nothing,
You
then
maybe reusing it later down the road.
we're
on one of
using
the
it with hey, instead of just showing it with no end call to action, that there's a call to action at the end that says like, subscribe, or follow for more videos. Version C is exactly what version A is, well, in this case B, because it's with a CTA, but then there's a pattern interrupt for the first 2 scenes. There's this visually shocking image. Have you seen one yet?
I don't think so.
All right, let me see if I'll find one here. I'll put it up on screen. Okay, so let's see where I think it's, okay, so here is this is a pattern interrupt.
Okay.
Same exact video, but it's all these vertical shocking colors so that when you're on a Facebook or you're on an Instagram, you scrolling, and it just interrupts you.
Okay.
Same exact. We've put
Cool.
a black box around the words to get your attention. What experts say is the visual interrupt can't be forever, otherwise people are going to like throw up.
Mm-hmm.
So if you'll notice in the video, here's what happens. Okay, so it goes away after 2 scenes. That is version C. Arguably way different, but not so different, right? But it's a different version. These are
so anybody who is listening, that was exactly what you were talking through was text on different backgrounds. After scene 2, it changed to a different background. There was less scroll stopping.
It was just the same as version A, same black and white background, like same black background, white letters, just as version A. The only thing different was in the first 5 seconds or 7 seconds, it shocked you, that got your attention. That was what experts say will do it. And it just goes through. So I've got all these different versions. And the one that you were asking about was ultimately right here, I'm on video. I've taken that script, I've adapted it to what I want to say on video. And now it's me talking with a bunch of stuff, right? It's text hooks, image hooks, B-roll. And now my team is now able to build on a video because we've been building on it from this basic one that they can do, that they can execute.
Right.
And
they're already familiar with it.
And in the meantime, we've created 7 content posts that have been published and gotten attention. And so, that's the process that we're going with. I can't tell you for sure it's going to work, but I can tell you it has worked in the past. And it's based on models that work. People have spent millions and millions of dollars.
It's way better than not having a plan.
And it's better than being invisible.
Yeah. So I'm excited to dig into this. I definitely need to spend some time. I think this was a great intro into what you're doing. I mean, you've been telling me as you've been building this, and I know you've been spending so much time on it, but it was good to get the step-by-step, and I'll dig in a little bit more and grab the Google Docs.
Yeah, and you know, I don't know what we're going to attribute our success to down the road, but a lot of it might just be patience. We've had the patience, right?
Has to be at this point, right? I mean, you're starting cold calling next week. I've been doing cold calling the last couple of weeks here. I think once we combine more Facebook ads, people start to know and like us, trust us, they talk to us. I've already identified some people on cold calls that aren't a fit for us or said no for right now, right? But maybe at the end of the year, already saying like, I'm locked in. They're not willing to make a move. They haven't been through enough pain, but over time, everything we're doing here might convert.
Any parting words for this episode?
Well, I got an interesting text while we were on this podcast. So we have cleaners come twice a month, and I had my laundry downstairs next to the laundry machine. They usually do like our linens and stuff. And I went back down. They had put my stuff back in the dryer, I guess, because they needed it, and they needed the table space. I brought it all upstairs, and I organized it, and it's on the bed, and put a pair of Nina's underwear that somehow got into mine over on the other side of the bed. And I just got a text with a photo that says, "Not my underwear." So did the cleaners do some of their own laundry in our laundry, or how did some other female underwear get in there? So
sounds like a detective case, Jeremy.
A little adventure in front of me here to figure out what happened. So yeah.
The stories of being a co-host and property owner. Awesome. All right. Well, that's it for us. In our next episode, we are going to talk probably 100% about our cold calling results we've been achieving, and that'll be exciting.
Yeah. No solid, here's proof that it works yet, but we'll get there.
Yeah, we'll get there. All right. We'll see you next time.
This was great, Scott. Thanks.